everybody. I hope you popped that popcorn because we're at part 2 of cryptids on Beyond the Borderline with your hosts, Connor, Cam, Ryan, and Phil.
Sweet. Yeah, you heard it right, folks. We're doing part 2 of our cryptid episode from Tuesday because there's more cryptids to talk about. In fact, there's tons more. We could probably make like 50 episodes about it, but we won't. Actually, maybe we will, but not 50 in a row. But yeah, so let's kick off this part 2. We discussed last episode the chupacabra, a little bit of vampire talk, megalodon, and the Mongolian death worm. I don't think I missed any. Hey,
Nope, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay, so then this time, Connor and I will talk about our little creepy dudes, and then yeah, we'll see where it goes. So I think I'm gonna go last today. I think
Okay.
I think I talk a lot, and I'm just gonna listen. So go ahead, Connor.
Listen. Wow, that's a first.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Damn.
Shots fired.
Damn. No, you're right.
Yeah, no, I can start. I can start off. The two I wanted to talk about were more related to, like Canada, northern parts of the States, that sort of thing. So, I'll start with the ones close to us on the eastern part of Canada and the States, and those are, well, I guess two cryptids in specific. So one of them is the Wendigo. Comes in many different, it has many different names, but that's like the main one. And it's from like First Nations lore, I guess. And essentially what they are, they're spirits or creatures. And like even on like European culture as a werewolf, it's kind of similar to the werewolf. It doesn't like shapeshift or anything like that. It's just a creature that is. And essentially they live in the deep part of the woods, and they actually have this, like it's said that they have this weird ability to mimic humans. So they'll mimic humans as like a cry for help, like they'll make it sound like a little kid crying for help, or like a woman like screaming for help, or like a hunter saying like, I've been shot, I need help, or whatever, and just screaming. But the telltale sign that it would be not a human would be like it'd be in the deepest part of the woods where you're never gonna you'd expect nobody,
no one
to
can
be
hear
there.
you scream type thing.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be those places. And then the other thing is like the closer you get to it, the farther away it sounds. So it's just drawing you closer and closer and closer. And then it attacks.
Wow.
And this is a theory, and I'm not gonna like say I agree or disagree with it. It's just a theory that some people have had, and it's like missing 411 cases, especially near like national parks in the States and stuff like that. Is similar, is these things where people get like found and they're missing limbs, or they've like been completely decapitated and stuff like that, and like there's like a theory that it might be like Wendigos that actually exist, and they're like, because they specifically only go out, well, like that it's known of, is they specifically go after human beings, because they mimic people, and people have like this desire to help other people out, and so they kind of like feed off of that and use that to lure people in.
Yeah, they're like clever.
And they're supposed to be
creature.
like, I guess I'll describe what the creature looks like a little bit as well. They're supposed to be like 7 to 9 feet tall, like super like bone skinny, like pieces of rotten flesh exposed, and then they have a skull-like face, but again, like it's just like exposure, because they're like these spirit creatures they're evil and malicious.
Can I saw, like, I'm just reading about it a little bit here. Can I give like a description? There's like a quote from this website called allthingsinteresting.com that describes it. So like here, this is what it says.
Before you go into it, I just want, if it has like, there's like the modern version or whatever, like the Hollywood version gives it antlers, but like,
yeah,
the actual lore doesn't like the native lore doesn't have antlers.
Yeah, this is straight from a native author called Basil Johnston. So he says it's almost 15 feet tall. Okay, so this is the exact quote. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushing out over its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into its sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it once had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from suppurations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. Nasty.
You know, you know what
Spectacular.
you know what that description reminds me of?
Your mom? No,
It
sorry.
reminds me
No,
of the
I-
way
no.
Professor Lupin's werewolf looks like in Harry Potter 3 in the Prison
Oh,
of
Lupin?
Azkaban.
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of. Except this will
kinda
be
reminds
much
me of that
taller.
description.
Yeah, so that's kind of like there's definitely similarities to be drawn between like European werewolves and Wendigos, and that's kind of where it's like if these things are popping up before like these two cultures collided, you know, there might be like, you know, like the kid in me is like, oh, maybe it's real.
There was a movie adaptation of it on Netflix.
Oh
I
yeah.
believe it was called The Ritual.
Oh gosh.
I
Where it was
watched
this- yeah, this creature, it kind of looked like it looked more so like a hybrid of the Wendigo and a moose, like a super tall creature with antlers, like was
Yeah,
that's
possessed
like
by
the Hollywood-
demons.
that's the Hollywood
That almost
depiction
reminds
of
me
it, but
more
like
of
the
a
actual
version
lore
of-
behind it does not have antlers. That's just like
Okay.
Hollywood's version. Yeah.
Yeah, I
For
saw a
sure.
movie about the Wendigo recently on Netflix. I forget what it was called, but it was awful. It was so bad. It started like really cool. Shit, I want to get the name of it.
Are you sure it
Um,
wasn't The Ritual?
It might have been.
There's
might have been.
others. There's a similar like native lore, and it's a little bit more human like. They're called skinwalkers,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're essentially like evil what people would consider, I guess, witches or like, you know, like shaman or whatever, like evil doers anyways, and they have the ability to like shapeshift into animal-like creatures, not animals but animal-like creatures. And same thing, they feed off of people, they lure people in and do similar things. So those are two like cryptoids or like lore things that are in the eastern part of Canada and the States, and
Cool.
usually in more like secluded areas of the forest. But when people go like hiking and exploring nature and stuff like that, is sometimes when these stories happen.
I love this. I looked up skinwalkers and on what is this? This is a History Channel website. It says, according to some traditions, skinwalkers were once healers and medicine men who were corrupted by their own power and turned to evil. In modern times, comparisons are frequently made with Sith Lords of the Star Wars universe, because it's been said that the social transgressions and the breaking of tribal taboos can cause anyone to become a skinwalker. Sick. They're literally
Yeah.
native Sith Lords. Let's go.
Essentially, yeah, they get kind of like excluded from society because they don't work for the tribe. They go off their own
Yeah. It's
ideology.
kind of like
and values and stuff.
the witch in Minecraft. There's actually like a lot of Minecraft lore. It's not like canonical, like official lore, but it's like there's this really great theory channel. I'll try and find it. I'll like plug it in the description or something. But this really great theory channel about Minecraft lore that goes into all these things. And like the witch in Minecraft is kind of like that, where it's theorized that they were like ostracized from the rest of society because they look like villagers, but are like fucked and evil and shit because they practiced all this, you know, crazy magic and witchery and stuff. But anyway, maybe no.
Ryan, what was that that individual in Vikings that was said to like see the future? Was it called the seer?
Yeah,
that's
this year.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
that dude.
Kind of like
But
very
this-
cool, like
It was like the mouth of
This year-
Sauron almost.
yeah.
This
Oh,
year,
wow.
this year didn't act in malicious ways though.
No, no. But like in the same that it was like ostracized from society.
Like a shaman kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
No, like shamans usually live outside of the village and do their own thing, but they don't act in malicious ways. What
Yeah. They're like a
these
shaman gone
skinwalkers
wrong.
what these
You know what,
skinwalkers do is they
the
act on their
Hollywood-
own. They act on their own values. They don't act on, and they don't really care about traditions and ritual. They do their own thing to see to
The
pretty much see how far they can go.
the Hollywood interpretation of the Wendigo almost reminds me, Cam, of a Leshen from The Witcher.
Yeah, kind of.
And I think that Leshens are from Polish lore, and that might lend more. That might be where the inspiration for the Hollywood interpretation of a Wendigo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
although I think Leshens are supposed to be more like guardian, like forest guardians.
I
kind
know,
of.
but there's still a tribal aspect to that, right? That we're seeing with the Wendigo.
Yeah, but they don't like prey on humans necessarily.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
they do.
Yeah, but only when they're like wronged. You know, they're not like maliciously intending to like lure people in
They're
by.
vengeful spirits. Like if you wrong them, they're going to seek vengeance.
Yeah, exactly. But they're not
Here's-
like deliberately evil.
Here's another thing that's weird is back to that 411 thing I mentioned. Sometimes these kids would go missing in the woods for like a couple days, and they'd be found on weird places like the sides of cliffs that they wouldn't be able to get to. And some of these kids would say like describe essentially like a Wendigo or a skinwalker, and everyone would just be like, oh, it's just a kid making things up. But like some of these, like what you see it as like an innocent person because it's a little kid that hasn't really done any wrong in the world, they let go. I like just hearing those things is like, this is kind of like, this is
Oh,
interesting. So
it's
back to like
Mhm.
the guardian thing that you said there, Ryan.
well, it's like the it's kind of like the archetypal evil where you have this this evil masquerading as
Yeah,
someone in trouble or
it's
or someone
basically a
innocent.
psychopath.
It's just so cool.
It's like the
It's so cool
like
to think about.
personification of a psychopathic personality.
Yep. I know.
Okay.
It
I have a
reminds me
don't know if you
couple.
wanted to go,
of,
Cam,
it
but
reminds me of
I had one more, and maybe you wanted to touch on it as well. Was
sure.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, we gotta
Okay.
talk about
Okay,
Bigfoot.
we'll talk about it. Okay, let's squeeze it in at the end. Okay, first
All right,
though,
all right.
okay, let's just appreciate though. I'm just looking at the list of cryptids, and I just want to appreciate some of their names because some of these are glorious. Like we talked about this a bit last week, off the air, but the bat squatch, like we might have to talk about that. The beaver eater, like some of these are just not scary. Like, damn, there's a beaver eater in the woods. Like, okay, cool.
You know what the beaver eater sounds like?
Oh no.
It's just an absolute stud.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Oh, man.
Just call me the beaver eater, man. Like, no. Cactus cat. I don't know what that is. It sounds terrible. Devil monkeys. That's just any monkey. A
That's any
dingbat.
chimp.
A dingbat. Like, these are just people combining various syllables together, I think. Ebu gogo. Hold on, there's some good ones. The ghost camel. Everyone be
Yes.
afraid of the legendary ghost camel. It's coming for you. And the
Ooh.
giant bush baby is right behind it. Oh no. Oh god. It's just getting more and more terrifying. The Lone Pine Mountain Devil. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, so the ones that I wanted to talk about were the Mothman and the Jersey Devil. So
Yes.
I'll start with the like not the hockey team, what inspired the hockey team. So we'll start with the Mothman. So I'm gonna kind of paraphrase this story from online. So on November 12th, 1966, in the town of Clendenin, West Virginia, apparently there was a group of grave diggers working at a cemetery. And then suddenly they all glanced up because some massive, figure, some massive creature flew over their heads. And it was moving super quickly, like jumping from tree to tree to tree. And they described it at the time as a brown human being. like like not the
Oh,
not the
God.
race.
No.
No, just I guess like head to toe, just brown human being.
Race war.
I didn't realize how that sounded until I read it out. These guys, they didn't see a Mothman. They're just racist, I guess. No. Anyway, so this was the first sighting of the quote unquote Mothman. So then 3 days after that, in the nearby town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, two couples noticed a white winged creature about 6 or 7 feet tall standing in front of the car that they were all sitting in. So there's 4 people in a car and they see this thing standing on the road, I guess, in front of them. So the eyewitnesses actually told the local paper that this creature had bright red eyes, like glowing, like spotlight red eyes, about 6 inches apart. So pretty big head, a wingspan of 10 feet. And it apparently had the urge to avoid the lights of the car. Like it wasn't, it was, I guess the witness said that it was making the effort to like avoid the headlights of the car. And then they said that the creature was able to fly at super fast speeds, apparently as fast as 100 miles per hour. But obviously, like, how do you judge that from the ground, and apparently that it was super clumsy on the ground, but in the air, it was just a bullet. So apparently it chased their vehicle to the outskirts of the town in the air, but then disappeared into a nearby field. So I guess that's how they knew how fast it was going, because it would chase their car apparently. And he said, the guy who reported this to the local paper said, quote, "If I had seen it by myself, I wouldn't have said anything, but there were 4 of us who saw it." So this dude was like adamant that he was not, making it up, not lying. It wasn't just a figment of his imagination, because there were 4 witnesses who all saw the same thing at the same time, right? And then, yeah, the rumors started spreading across the region in West Virginia about this man with wings. And, a couple of firefighters said they saw a very large bird with red eyes. A bunch of people started reporting weird sounds and weird things in the sky. And then basically they were saying like the Mothman was like a harbinger of doom, because shortly after it was sighted, a bridge actually collapsed. So one of the sightings of the Mothman was on this bridge in Point Pleasant. So, some people would see it near their house. Some people see it in the woods, when they're driving. And then eventually people saw it on this bridge, kind of just clinging to it, and like they reported the same thing, red eyes, like huge red eyes, the wingspan, whatever. And then a few days later, the bridge actually collapsed and 46 people died in the collapse of this bridge. So it made big news at the time. Obviously as it would, like 46 people dying because of a bridge collapsing. It's not something that happens very often. So people were saying like either the Mothman was like a harbinger of death, basically like some kind of evil omen, or that it actually contributed to the collapse of the bridge, that it facilitated the bridge collapsing in order to kill these people. So yeah, I don't know. Like,
did any of the people that stepped forward and say they saw it, were any of them people that died on the bridge?
I don't know. I can't find that here. That would be like crazy.
I would say then that would be a harbinger of death. Like,
but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really believe that much in this. Like this one's kind of more bizarre, like a Mothman, like, you know, this dude with wings. Kind of ridiculous, you know, but also it is powerful when multiple people witness something at once, you know. Like it's
Mhm.
definitely harder to discount that, because you have to question, like, okay, what is the motivation for reporting it to the newspaper, right? Because people would just say
Were
you're
they on drugs?
crazy. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. So, but that's the one thing that sometimes I think about is like, why would someone report it to the newspaper? You know what I mean? Or like be speaking about it widely, because they know that people are just going to say you're crazy. Now, obviously, they could be seeking attention. They could be, you know, yeah, on drugs or having some kind of manic episode or something. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on about Mothman for too long. But yeah, that's the basic story of the Mothman of Point Pleasant. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do Bigfoot for a bit and then wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, Bigfoot, the abominable snowman, Yeti, whatever. There's a lot of different like uh cryptids around the world that people just see, or like, you know, say they've seen or whatever. And like that's another one that could be a possibility, just because all these different cultures have similar stories of these like creatures that they say, oh yeah, I've seen that before, where the ape like, but they walk like man. So I'm like, I don't know, that's just something I wanted to dig into and see what you guys thoughts are on, like, obviously it's highly improbable, but I mean, I like to think that nothing's impossible in this world. So
Well, the most interesting fact is that there's like so many different accounts of it from across the world, which immediately lends more credibility to it than other stories. You know, like there's, like you said, there's Yeti in like the Himalaya region, right? Then
yeah,
there's Bigfoot slash Sasquatch in North America. There's what was it, the skunk ape, which is like in the Florida Everglades. But yeah, there's like all these stories of these ape men. Um, and yeah, like I kind of like, I want to believe it. It would be really cool. Um, but also like all the evidence of Bigfoot is like such bullshit, you know, like the famous video
yeah,
could have so easily been somebody in a suit.
in a gorilla suit. Yeah,
Yeah. And like, have you guys seen Finding Bigfoot, the Discovery Channel show?
that's like a
Brutal.
joke though.
Oh,
Like, come
it's
on.
so fucking hilarious.
Dude, Nelk did a video about
I know.
just ripped this guy to shreds, dude.
I know. I saw it. It was
Oh my
hilarious.
gosh.
He was firmly convinced that
We
they
tricked
believed him.
somebody into, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The poor guy.
That show was just hilarious. They marketed themselves as a team of Bigfoot experts, right? And it's like, so they just make all these claims, and it's like, how do you, like, what do you mean? What are you going off of here? You're just making claims that like, oh, they make these sounds, like the females when they're mating, they like make this specific call and they do this like weird yodel, like, and then and they're like, oh, this will attract the male. They're like, this will attract the male Bigfoots or something. I'm like, what? And then they like
Yeah,
blast it
but
on
they
like a
forget to ask
loudspeaker.
these.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic because they don't seem to ask all of these experts their marital status.
Yeah. Imagine being the wife of one of those guys. Like, oh, what's your husband do? He's a
Yikes.
fucking maniac.
Oh, he's a Bigfoot. Yeah, he's a Bigfoot
Yeah.
fighter.
Certifiably insane.
Yeah. He actually 5 days a week goes into the woods and screams. Oh, cool. But and they would like knock on trees and they'd be like, oh, this is what they
Oh,
do,
yeah.
like to communicate to another, is they knock on trees. So they're just like banging on tree trunks, like trying to attract the
Yep.
Bigfoot. I love that show. No, if anyone wants a good laugh, like I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, but just look up Finding Bigfoot. I'm sure it's not on Discovery Channel anymore, but Finding Bigfoot, amazing show. It's hilarious.
Yo, just imagine if they actually found Bigfoot on that show. Discovery Channel would just be absolute, like, well, they'd be richer
Oh
than they are
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, but no, these guys are just fucking loons.
Oh, wackadoodles, yeah.
I'd love to believe, but they've like based their whole career off it. It's like, I mean, if they can make money off of that, though, good for them. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, like I agree. Like, there's a lot of stupidity around the people that do it for their whole life, but at the same time, back to the giant squid, man. Like, at one
Mm,
point, nobody believed that was a real like a real animal as well.
yeah,
So
it's true.
I can't
Although,
I'll say I won't believe in a lot of it, but at the same time, I'm also not believing in it because there's a lot of things we still don't know about our world.
yeah, it's true. Although, like, just their behavior like doesn't mimic that of like other apes. You know, like they're apparently like solitary creatures. They're huge, you know, which already makes them an anomaly among primates, like bigger than gorillas. And again, there's a question of food and the pure question of why aren't there like really, really good sightings? Like that's like when people bring up Loch Ness Monster and shit, I'm like, okay, like Loch Ness is not like a gigantic lake. Like surely we would have evidence, you know? And
Yeah,
same with Bigfoot and Sasquatch. It's like if they inhabit like all forests in North America, or at least like the the rainforesty areas in BC and Washington and stuff, like surely there would be like actual really good evidence, whether that be footprints that aren't like shitty fake castings, or
yeah,
people would have stumbled across them for real, instead of these videos of like these dudes walking 100 feet away and then, oh shit, we saw Bigfoot, like damn.
yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I mean, there's also like you got to think of like what is it, like the mountain lions and stuff like that. I mean, they're a pretty rare creature by themselves, but they have such a big range of like territory.
True, yeah.
So maybe it's like, again, the kid in me is like, maybe it's like one or two of them and they just kind of spread out throughout all of Western Canada and the United States. And that's
Mhm.
why people haven't seen them, because they're just so like sparse.
True, yeah, like I guess there could only be a few. It's possible. And also, I guess another thing that lends credence to it is um that there's like indigenous folklore about it as well, which means it's not just like a modern Western phenomenon, that it
Yeah.
actually might be something native to the land.
Like there's tribes in the Amazon that we don't know about. There's human populations that we don't know about. So
Yeah, true. I just can't get over the like I
The
think
TV shows ruined it.
the Finding Bigfoot guys ruined it for me, man. Like,
Like
true.
bad.
because
You
I
know what?
watched that shit religiously, and I was like, every episode, I was like, okay, are they gonna find something this time? And it's like never, like not even a picture, nothing.
Never.
It was like never.
It's like somebody 10 feet away behind the camera doing like a moose call or something.
Yeah, they're like, oh, what was that? It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a dog.
And then they start all running with the camera. It's like, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit. It's probably just a guy. He's probably walking and he's got the camera and he's like shaking the shit out of it, like to make it all dramatic.
Yep. Oh,
Or-
that's kind of a conspiracy. Why does all important videos suck?
the
Yeah.
funniest one I saw was like it was like one of those hunting cameras, and then like it just gets like it's like it's like 3 hours of video, and then like the last 20 minutes all you see is somebody just come in and like just drop it on the ground and destroy it. It's like, oh, that could have been Bigfoot right there. It's like we already know somebody just walked up, unpeeled
Yeah.
it off the tree, threw it on the ground a couple of times.
Could have been Bigfoot. Yeah, it could have also been anything else. Like, I'm looking at stuff now and it's like, even the caption under this image is blurry image of a supposed Bigfoot sighting. Like, why does it have to be blurry? Like, dog, everybody's got a fucking iPhone nowadays. That's like some high quality shit. Like, but I'm open to believing in it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it like I'm assuming like I don't strongly believe in it, but I'm open to if somebody has a lot of good proof that I'm not gonna say like not a chance.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should leave it there for now. I think that's the end of cryptid talk. Crypt
Yeah.
talk.
Well, we might crypt talk. Yeah, we might come back to it at a later date, but yeah, I think our next episode, we had talked about this before, but I think next week we're going to talk about kind of going with the same mysterious creatures vibe, some haunted locations and like, you know,
Ooh.
tales of ghost stories from haunted places around the world. Yeah, we mentioned the Paris catacombs maybe. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That will be sure to be an interesting discussion, especially if you like ghosts and the paranormal and stuff like that, which I'm sure a few of you definitely do. So yeah, thanks for joining us and stay tuned.
If you guys want us to stop talking about stuff like that, leave a comment. Tell us what you want us to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we won't. Leave a comment. Let us know.
We'll keep it
Anyways,
exciting.
have a great weekend, everyone. Make sure you take care and you brush your hair.